Yes.
I hope that you have your notebook and your, she says she loves you too. Hey, wait a minute. Do you love me too? Wait a minute now. Hold the line. uh, make sure you have your pencil or pen and your notebook, your journal. You should always carry your journal here because we're taking you through the journey of life and we're showing you how to master life rather than life master you. But Queen, if you go ahead and kind of give them a for the new visitors. Okay. Now you're on my good side. Now she said, of course. Could you tell them about the tell them about the podcast? Kind of give them a little elevator pitch about the podcast, please.
Yes, we want to welcome you all, and we hope that you will return again. As you can already tell, you probably can tell that I like to laugh a lot, and
Whole lot.
Cheryl is a little bit more low key, but we're similar. But she's a little bit more low
Uh-huh.
key. But I like to have fun, and she
Uh-huh.
like to have a little taste of fun.
Oh, I'm
But
humorous though. I ain't going
she
there.
is, she is. We are two therapists. We have similar backgrounds. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and Cheryl is a licensed marriage and family therapist. And we are both faith based therapists. And so we're going to give you a biblical perspective as well as a practical perspective. Some people are non believers, and that's okay. This is still great information that you can take into your relationships, into your life, and apply it where you feel that it fits. And so, again, we welcome you to our family, and we welcome you to ask questions. And if we are not on a live and you have a question, please do DM us both at Cheryl underscore masterpiece women, and we would get back to you, or either we would share that question at our on our next live, but we will not disclose your name, so don't worry about that. Okay, welcome Cofield.
Is that?
Is it Cofield? I think it's
Mm-hmm.
Cofield 2255.
And right now, if you can have somebody share this and then
Yes.
text your friend or however you're going to do it and have them to join. This
Uh-huh.
is a family, so we're trying to build the family. And any topics, listen to me carefully, any topics you have, then submit it, and then we'll pray about it, and then we'll address the topic. We'll make it, like 1 or 2 weeks, cover the topic, or
Mhm.
1 week. But if you have any topics, then submit it accordingly, but make sure you share right now and you have some invites. We had a lot of invites. I want to welcome the Facebook audience. I want to welcome the YouTube audience. We're very appreciative and we're getting real close. Now, we are almost close to be on Spotify and all the other podcast platform. But let's go ahead and get started. Last week or the 2 weeks prior to this week, we were talking about dating. Are you the one? Then we talked about dating. Men's have questions too. And so go to my profile, Cheryl at Masterpiece Women, or you can also go to Pamela. Pam, what's your handle? What's your handle?
My handle is Pamela Shakir LCSW on IG.
And you can go and see the whole podcast
Yes.
for those last 2 weeks. And I always give little clips during the week so you can see what you missed last time. But this week we're talking about courting. Are you ready? And a lot of people, and I was doing some studying, Pam, before I go in the introduction, is
Hmm.
they kind of blend dating and courting. It seems like this society, you cannot blend the two. The two cannot be blend because last week we said that dating, we defined dating, or the purpose of dating is
Hmm.
collecting data, collecting
Yes.
information, just to
Evaluating.
evaluate, just to see if this
Hmm.
person can be possibly a candidate, to see if they're compatible, see if they have a fit into your beliefs, if there is a fit into your belief system in your future, and you do the dating process before you even crack the door of going in the inner court. Now, what I mean by the inner court, there's an outer court. Outer courts are just like associates. So when you meet a first person for the first time, they're just associate. Okay,
Hmm.
there's not, you just meeting this person. You might met them through somebody else, or it might have been through
That's
the
correct.
online. You had met somebody or whatever. We had talked about that, but they're just an associate. And so you ask a lot of questions, and if they stumble around, answer the questions, then they're not the one. If they have a problem, answer the question, or
Mhm.
they said you asked too many questions, then they're not the one. So I recommend that you do listen to the past 2 weeks podcast to be caught up where we're at now. Now, we said the reason why you ask all the questions before they crack the door into the inner court. Now we're in the inner court today. So there's the outer court, the inner court. The inner court means that they made it through. You both are going into each other's lives. And this right here, now
Mhm.
watch, it doesn't still, you still be asking questions, but write this down. This stage is more so of observation. This stage is more so of observation. And this
Mhm.
show is more
Yeah.
so you more so observing now. You're observing their
Mhm.
behavior. Or I
Mhm.
like to say it like this, Pamela. The questions that they answered, now you're gonna see if they answered the questions correctly through their observation. Okay?
Yeah, through their
Uh,
actions. Do
so
you
their
you know that
action, yes,
yeah,
yes.
you know in this stage that you like them. You're
Mm-hmm,
interested in them and you want to get to know them further.
mm-hmm.
And you're also thinking in terms of could they be the one? Is this someone that you can marry?
Exactly, exactly. So now all
Mhm.
those questions that you answered, they were just right. Now we're going to tell through the words that come out of your mouth, and yes, primarily your actions. And then we
Mhm.
have the inner court, which is now that you have a covenant with that person, that you made an agreement, you got married, and you go further.
Yes.
But what I want to talk about today is that what happens in the inner court. Okay, what happened, and I think Pam, that's where we're going to go. Is what
Yes.
happens in the inner court. And this, right, listen to me carefully. Now you made a commitment to that person that is just going to be you two. Okay, it's going to be
Exclusive.
uh-huh
Going to be
it's
exclusive.
exclusive. But write this.
Mhm.
Listen to this, Pam. But you still have a right during the inner court. If you don't really have peace in the inner court, you still have a right to get out of that relationship.
Yeah, you can quit them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can quit them and move forward.
And
Mhm.
move forward, because it might not
Mhm.
be right, and you'll see some things that we'll talk about later. Okay, so there is
Yes.
now, Pamela, this is what I want you to talk about. There's a commitment. There's that one-on-one. It's nobody
Mhm.
else. And watch. And I wrote this down. No third party involved. Hit on that, Pamela.
Just like what it's just like what what you said. No one else. It shouldn't be another woman that you're pursuing. It shouldn't be another woman that you're talking to on the phone. And for the ladies, it shouldn't be any men that you're sneaking having dates with, that you are emotionally cheating with, you are emotionally connecting with. Because if you cannot close the door on one situation, how can you fully give this person that you are embarking upon this commitment with, how can you fully give them yourself? So you already enter into the relationship with a mindset on, okay, I like this person, I'm committed to this person, but I'm already cheating. And if you get married to that person,
Mm-hmm.
you're already entering into that marriage with divorce,
Mm-hmm.
because you already you're bringing someone else along the line.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already tainting the waters. It's
Mm-hmm.
not going to work.
Mm-hmm. And then also you're exposing your character.
Yes,
And
those
it,
fruits of the spirit is showing, is they not showing up.
And you remember that story I told last week? That person in college, he said, I'll be his number one on the list." Girl, that was a hot mess. That was a hot mess. See, that was defined. So I would be the prime. Watch this. I would be the primary one, but I wouldn't be the only one. First Lady, we love you, and I thank you for coming on today. And I recommend everybody on every Tuesday at 7:15 Pacific Standard Time. "Early Will I Seek Thee" is a dynamic word that she goes forth every week, and just building women up. So
Yes, she
please,
does.
on Facebook and YouTube. It's live on YouTube also.
Mhm.
But yes, so you went, so that there is no third party involved. And
No.
because if they are doing it now, just cut it off. If they're doing it now, then they will also do it in the marriage. Okay, this is a
Of
point.
course.
And Pamela, this is the point now, is that we will not settle right now. We will not settle for anything that is on the edge, anything that disturbs our peace, because this is the inner course. Somebody has entered into our lives, and if it disturbs our soul, if it disturbs our emotions, then something has to change. It either get out We need to talk about that. They say, okay, I'm gonna modify that because I don't really want to lose you, and you guys gonna work as a team. And if that person change,
Exactly.
so these are the things that I'm talking about, Pamela. Is that this inner court is serious because you're walking into what we're going to talk about, like meeting family, see if you work as
Mhm.
a team before you go into the inner court. And so
Mhm.
keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, even if you are in the inner court and things
Mhm.
are not right, then you have a right to get out. Don't feel obligated. Don't feel like that, oh, I'm in it now. I invested my time. See, Pam, I hear that all the time.
Mhm.
I have invested
Mhm.
time.
I've spent money. I've spent money. You know, we've bought this and we were planning and we spend money. Like if they're planning their wedding, you know, they're investing and focus on the money that they spent when there's already red flags instead of getting out of it. But I want to go back just a tiny bit, Cheryl, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in the inner court, meaning you're courting that person, you're looking at them to marry them. Women, is very important. If you cannot buy into that man's vision, meaning if you can't help him birth that vision, then you're not going to be able to be the helper that's your role. That's what the Bible said, that God presented Eve to Adam as his helper. So a part of being a helper, you also are saying, yeah, I'm going to help you birth your vision. If you can't help him birth his vision, then you might as well don't get in a relationship with him. It's already crumbled at that, because you'll be more so focusing on you, and instead of birthing into his vision. Now, hear me out. Once you birth his vision, you know, because the two of you come together and join as one. Once you birth his vision, then along the line, he's going to help you birth in your goals and your dreams as well.
Okay. Okay, I can agree with that, Pamela. But okay, but
Mhm.
that's automatic. Okay, I get that. That's inner court.
Mhm.
Then on the flip side, which I think you already hit it, but if the man does not recognize or see that the woman has the purpose, he's not the one.
Yes,
See, so we have to
he's
speak
not the one.
the man on
Yes.
if he only think that you have this certain role as a
Mhm.
potential wife, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, not
Mhm.
realizing that God has given her a purpose too, that she has a destiny
Yes.
in life. And even if he does know and he suppresses it, then he's not the one.
Yeah, and that's the difference. You're gonna
Mhm.
know when you have someone that's cheering for you, that's rooting for you, and want you to birth your dreams as well. You're gonna know this because you guys are gonna sit down during that courting stage, because that's when things are gotten serious, and you're gonna discuss the foundation of what your marriage is gonna look like, what we're gonna work focus on first. How is our family? When were we gonna raise kids? When are we gonna have kids? How are we going to discipline our kids? All of that is going to come into play, Cheryl, when they're sitting down and they're discussing the foundation of their marriage. Because not only are we the helper, but remember, we are producers. So
Mhm.
men, when you get the right woman, you gonna get you, she gonna be all that. I'm telling you, she gonna be all that, like the young people say, all that in a bag of chips, because we are producers.
Mhm.
Whatever we put our hands on, if she's your destiny partner, if she's your wife, whatever, your soulmate, whatever you want to call her, she is going to help you produce more. She's going to help you birth
Mhm.
whatever it is that you guys are going to do. And it's going to benefit the both of you, because, like I said, you guys are, the woman is buying into his vision, helping him. He's going to then turn around and help her as well. And then they both are going to be fulfilling their purpose. Now, like what Cheryl, you were saying, is that if he is suppressing and not allowing her to fulfill her purpose that God has purpose her to do, then he is not the one. So we want to make that clear.
Well, yeah, but
Okay.
I'm talking more so. Okay, I get that, and because she's gonna help birth his dream, but that's more even more so when they make that covenant with each other.
It is.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about that inner court. If he doesn't, he can talk about his goals and dreams,
Mhm.
but he doesn't even acknowledge hers in even in the inner court. Okay,
That's different. Yeah, that's
see,
different.
this is what I'm talking. When you don't even
Yeah.
acknowledge that that person has a goal during, if it's just it's like it doesn't even exist, then something is wrong. And
Mhm.
that person had the right questions when they were in the outer court trying to make it in
Mhm.
the inner court, but they may not listen to me carefully, ladies and gentlemen. They may not qualify to be in the inner court.
They may not.
because there are jobs that you go through the first process, you first interview, the second interview,
Mm-hmm.
how you go through those stages. They
Mm-hmm.
probably didn't make it
Mm-hmm.
for the second interview.
Yeah. But see, the thing about it, Shirley, is if the woman is a wise woman, she's going to see that ahead of time. He's not, when a person doesn't buy into your goals and your vision, I mean your dreams, as a, if the man doesn't buy into the woman's, she's gonna see that before he even get to the inner court. It's gonna
Not,
be up to
not all,
her to
not
be
all,
wise enough to see it.
yep, not, but not all the time. That's why we're on, because we're grooming them, people, or we're showing them how to be wise, because not everybody get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Wisdom, wisdom said, well, it comes with age. No, it does. It's because there's some people that
Mhm.
are older people, and they're still foolish and they don't have wisdom. So wisdom has to
Yeah.
come over time. We can't we I hope I'm saying it right. We can't expect everybody
Mhm.
just to be able to discern, because see, a lot of people still, they
Mhm.
think from their mind rather than discern from their heart.
Yeah, that's why they have to have. That's why I said a wise woman. A wise woman
Yeah, yeah.
will catch it.
Hmm.
But if you're not, if you hear me when I say wise, that doesn't mean that you don't, that you're not smart, or that means that you're dumb. It's just sometimes if you're so gullible and googly eyes because you're so happy to be in this relationship, and
Hmm.
he tall and he bow legged and he smell good, and you know all that little silly stuff that we be thinking about when we're young, you will miss some of the things that you need to really pay attention to. So, like I said, not only are we producers and what we put our hands on, we produce, we are encouragers, we're
Hmm.
resourceful. And so, since we are resourceful, Cheryl, you know, we are going to be able to gather the things that we need for our that we're talking about, the when you with the in the right relationship, we are going to be resourceful to bring the things into the household that we need for our house, our family, and in that relationship. Okay. So we are a lot of great things. Maybe that's why we are so great at multitasking.
Hmm.
Okay. So, but we jumped ahead of time. But what I wanted to
Very.
share with men is that men, do not forget to still tap into the woman. You
Hmm.
know, don't forget about her, like Cheryl said. Don't suppress her goals and her dreams. And share a little bit more about that, Cheryl.
Well, I think you cover, as I indicated, ladies, is that, and I think we're still going into the inner court, but we should
Mm-hmm.
stay in that, we should stay in the inner court,
In
because
the inner court.
right. But what I said last time is, if you don't have the man's dream and just or his vision, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and ladies, don't consume all that, because you're still not married to him. But at least he has,
Mm-hmm.
but at least he know that you have his best interest at hand. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
he knows he has your best interest at hand, and you have his dream and his
Mm-hmm.
purpose, and you might want to assist him on certain things, then you will have his heart. But if you're not
Mm-hmm.
interested in his goal and dreams, then you won't have him. Because one thing about, you have to let a man fulfill his dreams and his goals, especially if it's beneficial for you in the future. Okay, and
That's correct.
you're
Mm-hmm.
selfish and clingy, and it's all about you, like Pamela said, and you do things to distract him from fulfilling his purpose, then you should.
Mm-hmm.
Then that you still won't have his heart, and so you're trying to catch. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do
You're
this.
trying to tell him what to do, run his life.
Oh yeah, indirectly or directly.
Mm-hmm.
Some women are sneaky about it. This is what we're
Mm-hmm.
going to do to take them off. And when you do that, deep
Mm-hmm.
inside, bottom line, you don't have his heart. But see,
Yeah.
the whole key thing, men, I have to speak, because we for the men, make sure you know that woman has your heart. And that she
Mm-hmm.
has your heart when you just right here, then she will have, then she will have your best interest at hand when you right there.
That's so
You don't want to
true.
have somebody have your best interest hand, and you already all, you right here, because
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of question, do they really like me for what I have, or do they like me for who I am? See,
Yeah.
that's a good question. But the bottom line is this: is the inner court is for this. The inner court is this: is that you are seeing, does this person, write this down, and somebody type in, do they fit into your life story? Will they fit into your life story?
Yeah. Do they align with it?
Yeah, can't
Mm-hmm.
you guys now write a book together, your life? I
Yeah.
think that's the whole key thing, Pamela. Can you write
Mm-hmm.
together about
Yes.
and that is so, but
Mm-hmm.
But Pamela, let's talk about this inner court. And we're gonna. I want to talk about. I said this is what in the inner court you need to find this out. What does a person look like when they're upset? That is so important.
Mhm.
Okay, I know we skip, but I don't want to miss that out because a lot of people, when you get in that inner court and that person has anger issues,
Mhm.
and now you seeing the rough side of it, can you handle that? Because when you go in marriage and they didn't take care of that anger issue, it'll flow into that. Everybody follow me on that? That is so important. I know we're giving you a lot of stuff right here, but we got to look on both.
Take some notes. Yeah, make sure you take some
Oh,
notes
oh,
because it's very important. I wish I had it when I was in my 20s. I'm just being honest.
yeah, yeah, you got to know how does it look like when they're upset? How does it look like
Mhm.
angry? Can you handle that, or does it grieve you? If
Mm.
it grieves you, then that's not the person. And if they
Mhm.
and watch it, and Pamela, if they think it's okay, they don't feel like they need to modify and to change the way that they are display anger, then there's something wrong. Because listen to me
Mhm.
carefully. How they are now is how they will when they get married. The only and you cannot heal a person in a court that does not want to be healed. And if you marry them and try to heal, then you can just forget it. No, you cannot heal a person. Never forget R.C. Blake said you cannot heal a person. It comes from a will that they want to make the changes because they see whatever they're doing in life is not working. That's in the nut. That's in the nut. That's the nutshell. And then how? And here, Pamela, I think you were saying something like this. How attentive is the person? Are they balanced?
That's very important because if they're not balanced, they're going to be moody, which and then they're going to be mean. They're going to be mean towards you, snappy, and if you're not that type of person, that can hurt your feelings, and that can be the beginning stage of them tearing you down bit by bit, little by little.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, if they're moody, they're going to be mean, and then if they're mean, they're going to be controlling,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But sure, I want to back up just a little bit since we were talking about the courtship and the inner court, and this is for a man, the woman, or the man. You have to ask yourself, are you ready? Are you really ready to be in that for marriage? You
Mm-hmm.
have to ask yourself that because in asking yourself, are you ready? You have to come into this relationship with your own independence. Now, we're not saying that once you become married and you come together, but we're saying as your own independence, meaning like you're preparing yourself as an individual to be prepared for marriage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're not getting married and then say, "Oh, I'm not ready for marriage." You're preparing for marriage before you get into it, and then you have to ask yourself, "Can you see that person as your friend?" Because you want to be friends with the person before you get married.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's very important.
And I think bottom line is, Pamela, and people write this down. We need you to write in the comment box. Is the person marriage material? That's the bottom line.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
will tell this inner court is a total observation. Sometimes it's best not to say nothing, but just observe. You can see a whole lot when you just quiet and you. In other words, write this down. You need to master the art of silence in some
Mhm.
situations.
Yes.
You need to observe and see what's going on. And I hope people walk away with this. You have to observe. And if some,
Yeah.
because you ask a lot of people, did you know something before you married them that if you knew, if you would you have married and married that person? They said no. Because you, like Pamela, you said before, they so caught up that I'm in love with this person, I invested in time with this person, and they're
Mhm.
not employing their observation skills.
Yeah. And sometimes we just don't know. Let me just be transparent. I didn't know a lot of things about relationships until life happened. And
Mhm.
then I had to go back and do some deep reflection. And then I had to do some research and learn and listen and grow from people that's wise. So hear me when I say this. If you're at a stage and you say, gosh, I didn't really know that, this is your time to start digging a little deeper into that so you won't keep going back and forth making the same mistakes. Because like I've said before, you can meet another person and they'll be the same person with just a different face and a different name. And so in order for you to make healthy decisions and make better decisions, You want to first start with yourself and say, hey, where did I go wrong in that relationship? Did
Mm-hmm.
I make a decision? Did I jump too fast, or did I miss something that was stood out to me? Did I overlook something? You want to be careful for that, and that's the part of the courtship of you asking yourself, are you really sure this person is the one?
Someone said this: make decisions based on what you see today, not potentials, because potential is not a promise, and that is so important.
So,
Men and women, look, don't go into inner court thinking you're gonna groom a person. They got
mm-mm.
no, no, no. They have to be, watch this. They have to be marriage material before they get married. Now,
Yes.
inner court is a growth process of growing and changing. Like when you get married, you're
Mhm.
still gonna grow and change, because when you
Still
marry
going to
that
be
person,
growing.
because they become the mirror, and they're going to let you know about yourself, and then you
Mhm.
make the changes and so forth. You may not like what they say, but it'd be beneficial for you, but it's still a growth process. But don't marry the person, well, he got that potential, but he or she, we don't want
He
to
or
keep,
she.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Don't marry that person because they have the potential. I can change them. If they
Mhm.
don't want to be changed, how are you going to change them? See, that's the whole key thing. So
Yes.
the inner court is so important because it gives you the chance that I like this person. He made it, or she made it through that door, crack of my life. But if I have any red flags, if I have anything that I don't feel comfortable with, maybe I need to stop. And Pamela,
Mhm.
that's what happened. A lot of people, they don't want to stop. They want to go forward, hoping that that person will change when they
Mhm.
get married.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, I'd rather be hurt now than disappointed later.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you get out sooner, the depth of the pain is not like it is if you go ahead and get married,
Hmm.
because they say getting a divorce is like a death. Or worse than a death from what I've heard and experience, so it's not, it doesn't feel good to get a divorce. A lot of different emotions come with a divorce. So if you could prevent yourself from going through that and just ending the relationship before, then that's good. So that's why, it's really good to kind of sit back and ask yourself, when you're in the relationship with someone, you even still should ask yourself, do you, the expectations of that person, you know let me slow down and back up a little bit, meaning like whatever that person expects as from you as their husband, or whatever that person expects for you as their wife, you have to ask yourself, can you live up to that? Can you, some expectations are unrealistic, or some are realistic, but is this person going to allow you to grow and get there, or are they going to have you at, by this month you need to be doing this, and by this month,
Mm-mm,
that's controlling.
mm-mm,
That's a sign of control,
mm-mm,
and you are going to be walking on eggshells in that marriage,
mm-hmm.
if not even in a relationship.
And then I'm gonna say this, and I want to move on. But ladies and gentlemen, or
Mhm.
remember, see inner court as observation, and be more so. Don't be so much that you. That's why we emphasize. People can still do what they want to do, Pamela. But that's why we
Mhm.
tell people don't have intimacy even in the inner court, because now you'll be in the candy store rather than looking outside the window of the candy store.
That makes sense.
when you when
Yes.
you look outside of the window, you can see more, as opposed, because your mind and emotions, see, watch what I'm saying, there we go, your mind and your emotions are not in that store trying to buy everything, make sure everything is right, change. See, that's why we tell you don't have that intimacy, because what happens is you're creating soul ties with that person that may not be the person for you, even inner court. I'd rather be outside the candy store looking through the window, but still observing. And if I see something's not right, then I'm not all in it that I can't get out. And see,
Yeah.
and see, but when you having dating, when you having intimacy during the dating process, then it goes into the intimacy. Women, listen to me carefully.
Yes.
Intimacy for a woman is totally different from a man,
That's,
because
you better say it.
did I say, ding ding.
You better say it. It's
Intimate
totally different.
intimacy. Intimacy
Mhm.
for a woman is totally different from a man. We're more emotional. And so,
Mhm.
and therefore, when we, because that's even when you get married and you have intimacy with your husband, not saying he doesn't love you, but women, we cling even more so to him
We
during
will.
after that intimacy, because we have
Mhm.
become part of him. He has poured into us, if I can put it that correct way. Everybody follow
Yes,
me on
that's the
that?
correct
He,
way. Yeah.
we grown. He
But
has
y'all know what we're talking about.
He
Mhm.
has poured into me, and we
Mhm.
are one. And see, so so it's not, watch this. So you don't only have intimacy through your physical body, but you have intimacy through your soul and mind. Okay.
And that's very and key. That mind and that
Oh
soul is
yes.
very
Oh,
key.
I'll never forget. Now this is high school. I was teaching as a health educator at
Mhm.
one of the schools back in Bakersfield, and follow me carefully.
Mhm.
And one of the girls, I was talking to one young lady, ministering to her, and this is the other young lady. They had like you remember how they used to have the school daycare for those who had children in high
Yes,
school.
they had
Hmm.
that at South High.
That's
Mhm.
there. That's where it was, and she was
Yeah,
crying, and
it was called the PACE
Pace.
Center.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And she was crying, and she
Mhm.
said, and I turned around and said, "Babe, why are you crying?" Because she said, I had this child. She said, "What was it about me that I was not good enough for him to stay with me?" See, she was emotionally attached to him because
Mhm.
she created
That's
soul
soul tie.
ties.
Mhm.
Soul ties. Now the generation after, things are different, but soul ties are
Mhm.
stronger, seem like, for women than they are for men.
Yeah.
Not all men, because there are some men that but what I'm saying is, look out, be outside looking in the window, through the window,
Mhm.
and don't be in the store, because when you have soul ties, then everything is kind of mash. There's no boundaries. You can't see things
Mhm.
clearly, and so that is so important. Well, I had intimacy with him, but he talked real hard to me, but I had soul tie. You see what I'm saying, Pamela? And you can't do that. That is not healthy. And I know people gonna do what they have to do, but Pamela, I have seen and heard people say, well, I ask people a question, this: if you didn't have and they break up, I said, if you
Mhm.
didn't have sex with him, would it been easier to break away? And they said yes.
Mhm. Yeah, it's always, I mean, there is still, although it may be still a little bit of attachment there, but it's always easier
Mm-hmm.
to break away,
Mm-hmm.
and because it's something about when a person is, coming together, that
Mm-hmm.
soul tie is like, it's deep. But
Yeah.
I like what you said, Cheryl, about the candy store. If you're outside of the candy store looking in, observing, also being quiet, because sometimes if we run in our mouth so much,
Mm-hmm.
we will miss something.
Mm-hmm.
You will miss. Just sit and listen to a person's conversation. You will know their intentions for you. Just listen to their conversation. But if you're not paying attention and you're doing all the talking, you'll miss it.
Mm-hmm. And then Pamela, someone's saying, you have to look out for women, women too, in regards to men. But you should ask yourself a question: when you enter court and intimacy does take place,
Mhm.
women should ask yourself a question: what is about me that they couldn't wait? What was it about me that they couldn't wait? Even though there's women who are just up, up to it and want to, or whatever. But those but what is it about me that they couldn't wait? What a part of my royalty they didn't see about me?
Mhm.
Why did I allow them to take me from my throne to come down to that, and then knowing that's going to bother me? And some women it doesn't bother. Okay, some
Mhm.
do, but those who have that constitutional mindset of, that, what is it about me? I just want to know, what was it about me that caused that, and then me myself, or saying, what was it about me that I couldn't bring control in that and make my standards to take place. Now I feel so attached to that person that I want to go all the way through, even though I may know that that may not be the person for me.
Hmm. You know what? I think sometime with men, and I can be wrong, and it's probably some men on here. I think that if that's just what he wants to do, that's just what he wants to do. And if you're not going to be the one that's going to be be on board with it, then they'll move on to the woman that is going to be on board. But if you on board with it, then they just going to go for it. I don't know if every man is thinking about,
He don't.
if she's royal, if it's it. I don't think they thinking about that. I think they thinking like, I want to have sex,
Yeah, and
and
I
that's just what I want to
yeah,
do.
what and forget for the royal. That's just my terminology. But what is it about me that that I wasn't good enough just to wait for? You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
yeah, if
That's
they not, yeah, I
yeah,
get what you're saying. Yeah.
what
Hmm.
because then but because there are men, let's just say men who will fool around with that person or whatever. They quit that person, but marry a person that they didn't even touch whatsoever, and they marry that person. So
Because, well, that you have to have you have to have standards.
you
And
do.
if you have to have standards, and like I said, if you have standards and they don't want to wait, then they're not the one for you, and you move forward and you get with the person that's going to wait for you. Because you're right, Cheryl, some men will get in another relationship and treat a woman a certain way. They'll get in another relationship and treat her totally different.
And men, we're not badgering the men because there
Mm,
are some cold women out there too, okay? And so it can go the other way around. But here, these are some things what should not take place in the inner court, Pamela. And you add, as you see, domestic violence should not take
mhm.
in a court.
Yes.
The best domestic violence is not cute. Domestic violence does not mean that he loves me so much, you know, and that
Mhm.
because there are people who think because we have domestic violence and they think then they go through that honeymoon phase afterwards and stuff, and they forget about the domestic violence, but it's a continuous pattern that is very
Mhm.
dysfunctional. Isn't that? Am I about right,
You
Pam?
about right. Yeah, it shouldn't happen, period.
Mm-hmm,
Domestic violence should not take place in any stage of your relationship or marriage at
mm-hmm,
all. You
mm-hmm.
right, Cheryl.
And that is
Hmm.
so important.
Hmm.
I one situation is this person got out of a domestic violent relationship, you know,
Hmm.
and she went with this guy who really, I think she married eventually, but she went with this guy who really loved her and treated her royalty. Did you know that she tried to start arguments with him, hoping that he would beat her? And because that will signify that he loved her. See, see, so any form, if anybody hit you, male or female or whatever the case may be, then that is not the relationship that you have to get out immediately because that's not a healthy relationship to be in. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Another one,
Not at all.
another one is what should not take in the inner court is unfaithfulness. Now that won't be tolerated.
That's just flat
Not
out number one.
not today.
Don't,
Okay.
no. It's just,
Mm-mm.
yeah,
Un-
no.
Unfaithfulness, and you know, because if they're doing it now in the inner court, uh,
Hmm.
you really had caught it during the dating process. Because if you, like we said, if you went on a date and their eyes are roaming to everybody, looking around or whatever, then they have those tendencies, and that's not
Yes,
the person for
they
you.
not ready.
And then you crack the door open, and they're unfaithful to you. You
Yes.
caught them being unfaithful, then you have to close the door because
Mhm.
that is the part. That's something that they like doing. That means that how can I say it? Is that when they have one like Lay's potato chip, when you eat one, then you want another, and you want
Mhm.
another, and so
Mhm.
that means that they're not complete with themselves.
They're not. They actually really, when you struggle with that,
Mm-hmm.
that really means that you lack self-esteem, and
Mm-hmm.
you are going from woman or man to man, woman to woman, to get that boost, you know, and to get that boost because that feels in that void that's missing in you, and it's never going to feel, that's something that you have to work at to kind of get past why do you feel like you are an attention seeking person, because
Mm-hmm.
that's basically what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you are not a cheater, you
Mm-hmm.
don't care about seeking attention. You can be committed and content in that relationship you in, and pulling those things out of that woman or pulling some of those things out of the man that you want. You can build and work on one another. But
Mm-hmm.
if you constantly just jumping and going from woman to woman or man to man, you are lacking the self-esteem, and you're looking for, it's kind of like when you are going through some things and you're just shopping, spending all your money, all your credit, running all your credit cards up, kind of similar to that, but different.
Yeah, and Pamela, I think that's perfect what you said, and I think also, and you might have said it also, is that you're just not satisfied with
You're
yourself.
not satisfied with yourself. Never going to be satisfied until you go and get help for that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The next one, having no boundaries with friends of the opposite sex. You got to have boundaries. You know, you come. No, well, I'm just telling you just like it is. You have to have boundaries when you go in the inner court and you might have guy friend and they just got now watch this I can only speak for myself, okay? I had, I still have guy friends, but they're all respectful to Mr. Brown. They get on the phone and they laugh and they talk with him. So you have those boundaries because you do have
Mhm.
good old guy friends or whatever the case may be. But you have to set because there are some people that don't have any set boundaries and that person feel that they're free to call them anytime or say what they
Mm-mm.
want to say.
Mm-mm.
See, that is subtle. That is open things up
Mm-mm.
that can lead to something else. Is that about right, Pamela?
Yeah, that's disrespectful. But like you said, if they and if and also, as the person that's being friends with them, when you set that boundary
Mhm.
with your friend, they just know not to cross it.
Mhm.
And they are going to be respectful to that person's wife or that person's husband. I think it's healthy to have friends of the opposite sex. That's how we were
Oh,
when we were kids. When
okay.
we were kids growing up, we were friends with, if you're a girl, you're a friend with a boy or
Mhm.
you're a friend with girls. It's healthy. But when someone violates, that relationship, then that's when the problem comes. And so then that's when you have to get rid of that friend. That friend can no longer be in that inner court as your friend. They got to be on the outer court. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Pamela growing up, or in college, that's all my friends were guy friends because you'll know about other guys. They'll tell you,
Mm-hmm.
don't like that person because they da 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 da, and you
Mm-hmm.
learn because men know men like women know women, and like
Mm-hmm.
on the inner court, make sure you guys sit there and discuss. That's good right there. Make sure you discuss what are your girlfriends that you've been knowing for years, and what are my guy friends that I've been for years, and how we're going to set boundaries with that. Especially if this person you desire to be with, then that is showing pure respect. That I respect you so much that
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know about my relationships with other people.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So it won't watch this, so it won't cause any disturbance in our relationship.
Exactly. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes it's not only just your friends that may, a friend that may come along and do something they don't have no business. Sometimes you got to watch your family too.
Ooh. Yeah, you and that's a
You
next.
got
Yeah.
to watch your family because
Mhm.
I hate to say it, sometimes your family can be jealous of you and they can want your woman or they can want your man. So you got to be real careful. And if they cross that line and violate it,
Mhm.
that's your family. You love them, but
Mhm.
they can't never
Mhm.
sit on my couch.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And that's on period.
That's it. That's it.
You never sitting on my
Uh,
couch. So
because real because
I can't trust you.
can't and be real. Like you
Mm,
said, there are family members who will come in
they will.
and they have.
I know.
Seen it.
I've experienced
I
it.
have seen people because I'm Pamela know me. I'm very observant. Very
Mhm.
observant. She said, "Sure, you don't miss nothing. I don't."
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
you and these couples are with each other, but then you see a family
Mhm.
member standing a certain way. And ladies, can I just break something down, Pamela? Now
Break it down.
listen to me very listen very carefully. Is that you and I learned this from my girlfriend Gail. She said you can tell watching a relationship, you can tell if that
Mhm.
person is attracted to another woman and they supposed to be with you. Watch their body position. If
Mhm.
they stand across, if they stand and lean over them and the man doesn't move and they feel comfortable with that, something is not right.
Mhm.
So if they too much in other words, if they're too much into their space and they're comfortable about it and they do it in front of you, then you have to have some questions. I sat there and she broke that thing down to me. She said, "Cheryl, look at that. Okay, they are too much into each other's space, so they're
Mhm.
comfortable in doing that." So you have to look very carefully and discern, or if they're talking and everything is kind of secretive and they're giggly or whatever, something going on. Everybody
Mhm.
follow me on that? Because why
Yeah.
why are you not included? See that you have the dating process, then the inner court is for observation.
Mm-hmm.
Observation means that you're checking out their actions. You're not only you're
Yes.
checking out their body language, you're checking out the words that they're saying. Because watch this, when you're in the inner court and you try to go in the inner court, you get married, then you're married to the person. There's a covenant that's taking place. And
Mm-hmm.
then so we're trying to give you the warning signs before you actually going in. But Pamela, here, let's backtrack
Yes.
for a moment. When you
Sure.
if you said jealousy, right, in the inner court, is there any jealousy building up in the inner court between the both of you? If you're talking about your career and that person get jealous, they may
Let me
not be.
tell you. Let me tell you. And
Mm,
it will come out because they will speak directly to it. Oh, you think you this because of this?
mhm.
Oh, you think this and that because of this is going to come out.
You better let
And then
you better let them go. If you warn them and they don't
it's
make
come
the
out.
changes, you and I don't care. You better let. Well, why are you doing that? Why you can't just set up?
Hmm.
Let
Yes.
let them go.
Yeah,
That
and
is.
when you get married, Cheryl, that's when you said about they'll suppress your dreams and your goals.
Mhm.
They will suppress your dreams and your goals,
Mhm.
or they'll say, well, they'll try to distract you with other things so you
Mhm.
can't focus on that.
Mhm.
It,
Mhm.
it would happen.
Mhm.
It's,
Mhm. And that's so important. So if you see some jealousy stirring up, then or if you feel any unforgiveness, how did that work when you're in the inner court and then something take place and did the person go 3 weeks, 4 weeks without talking to you or whatever the case may be? Well,
mm,
watch this, the 3 weeks and the 4 weeks that they don't talk to you, that's your escape plan to get out.
mm. And it's
And
so unhealthy, for
mhm,
people to walk around, when you don't know. This is so I'm saying is when you don't know no better, you just don't know. But when you know, then you know better. But it's so unhealthy, and who wants to be in a relationship with someone that's on again, off again, in terms of like they speaking to you this week, and then you do one little thing, and then they don't want to speak to you anymore. You stone. I call it. It's called stonewalling when they're just silent, just turning their back, not want to talk. You walking through the house like you guys are not existing in the house and you're not communicating.
and not saying that you got not going to have any disagreement because you're two different people and you think differently. But if that's the pattern that they're displaying to you, then you might need to get out of go back through the go through the door backwards to get out of their lives because they're giving you their set patterns. Right? Somebody type this right now. You have to look at the patterns. Look at the pattern. Look at their mental patterns, their emotional patterns, their social patterns, their moral patterns, and their spiritual patterns. These are so important. What is their mental movie? Like we talked about, the mental movie is what kind of scripts are playing in their mind, and is that script healthy for you? These are so important.
They're
Um,
very important
very important.
because if they're not healed in those areas, Cheryl, it's going to show up. And it's
Mhm,
not good for them to be in a relationship without those areas being healed. I'm not saying totally healed, but
mhm,
you know what I mean. Healed enough where you can welcome and open a person into your inner court.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Then also, what should be taking place in the inner court, Pamela, is growth and development. Realize that
Hmm.
no one comes into a relationship as a perfect package.
Hmm.
No one comes into the relationship as a perfect package. Let me say it again.
Hmm.
No one comes into the relationship as a perfect package. It's all
That's
about growth
correct.
and development.
Hmm.
We talking about heavy loads. If you got that,
Hmm.
you got see. There's a little package that you take into the UPS store or whatever, but then there's those heavy package that you have to call UPS to come pick up. Now,
That's true.
and so if they
That
have
you can't pick up yourself.
right, and if they're
Hmm.
package, then you need to do an evaluation check. And
Hmm.
you say, sure, well, how do I pause this relationship? And because I have a heavy package, then you tell the person that I need to. I'm gonna just tell you, and they may not be ready to hear what's wrong with them. Okay, and you tell the person that I need to step back for a moment, and I need to analyze some things about me that I need to change because I want to be right by you. Okay, so now you got your way out. Okay,
Good.
uh-huh. See, so much because
Good.
you don't know how that person going to act. So just put it on you for a moment, okay?
Mhm.
And once you out
Mhm.
and whatever the case, and you don't. Well, this is what's this. I was analyzing myself, and I wonder why. Why did I deal with you doing this? Why did I
Interesting.
deal with doing that? See
Why
what I'm
did I
saying? So
respond like that?
uh-huh. So don't go
Mhm.
out cold. Well, I'm not going to talk because you got
Mhm.
a lot of people. You got to be careful with the society you're dealing with today.
Let me tell you,
You have to
it's
take
dangerous.
what they say, Pamela, you have to take your hands out slowly out of the mouth of a lion.
Mhm. Yeah,
So just tell him I have to.
can be dangerous.
Mhm, tell him or her I have to analyze myself and just give
Mhm.
me a moment to see, I just wanna be right and da 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 and work your way on that, okay?
Yeah.
And we said the commitment to
Can
go ahead,
can
Pam,
can
go.
we go back? I'm sorry, sure. Can we go back and talk about dishonesty? I think that is so huge in a relationship.
Then go for it.
If you are building a relationship, a healthy relationship, you cannot be a liar,
Mhm,
because if you start off being a liar, the trust is already broken.
mhm,
And then that's going to cause the repeated check-ins. What you doing? Where you going? Why you doing this? Why is this happening? And then you're lying. And once you start lying, you're going to forget all of the lies that you told. And so you're just going to continue to keep lying because you can't remember,
mhm,
the story. So it is so vital to start your relationship off and keep it like that, as being honest. Now, I know sometimes, women and men, we don't want to hurt the person's, feelings, but if you present yourself to them as a liar, that's how they're going to see you. And
mhm.
then that just makes more problems in a relationship. Go ahead, Shirley, if you want to add something to that.
No, no, that is because the honesty is just it just it's better. It may not all the time feel good to be honest, but then in the long run, it trumps over
Mhm,
everything else. And that is very.
mhm,
And
mhm,
even I was thinking today as I was writing how to maintain a person to be attracted to you in the inner court.
mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
a couple things. Pamela, I want you to hit on the one about keeping yourself up, and but I want to
Ooh.
take. I want to. I know, huh? And I want to take it from is listen to this, women. This is for the women, and then me and Pam are gonna talk. But I think I have a surprise for next week. But watch this. Don't take over the man's role in the inner court. Number one.
Mm.
All right. Don't take over that role, okay? Because well, I just used to being by myself, but you're a woman.
Don't be an alpha female.
Right, right. You're a woman. Don't take over the man role. If this is what he wants to do to let you know that he's giving you that platter for you to like what's on the platter, to let you know that he's capable of doing that, then let him do his role. That is important to him. That's just like if you don't allow him to do his role, that's just like taking the lion out of the kingdom, out of the king. He don't know what to do. But right, this women, you will empower men when you make a man make a man more attracted to him when you empower him with your words.
Mhm.
Watch your mouth. I said it last week. Watch your mouth, because you could tear a man down or you can build him up. If you want to make a man attracted to you, then make sure you empower with a positive word. Let him know, well, I truly appreciate you. The simple words, or I would, and know how to work it. Even I'd even tell America, know how to work it. If you're in a relationship and eventually you text him once in a while, I just want to let you know that I love you, want to let you know that I appreciate you, and you really carry that over into marriage, because
Yes.
that allows the man to feel that what he's doing is worthwhile. Everybody watch what I'm saying, but ladies, watch your mouth. And the one thing about, because men's will be turned off from you, they will be not less attracted
Instantly.
towards you instantly
Mhm.
because of your mouth. Well, this is just the
Mhm.
way I talk. Well, you need to go back to school and learn how to talk correctly. Take How to Talk to Men 101.
Mhm.
Start right there. Take How to Talk to a Man 101. And that is so important, because when you build a man up like a king, then he will definitely make you feel like a queen. And
Yes.
that is so important. Now, Pamela, I let you do how to keep a man attracted in the inner court. Go ahead. And what?
So they go hand in hand. I would say, in regards to watching your mouth, learn the right timing to discuss things. If
Mhm.
you see that your husband or your wife is coming in and flustered and frustrated about something, that's not the right timing to discuss them. So know your timing when you should discuss things. Keep on dating. Just because you're married doesn't mean that you got them. Yeah, you have them. Don't get me wrong, but you want to keep that spice. Continue to date that person. Fix yourself up. Men sometimes think that the way they when they first met us, we're going to always be like that, and that's not always the case. But we still should fix ourselves up. Don't be so comfortable to where you figure that because you guys have been married for X amount of years that you have him and he ain't going anywhere. He no, men are physical. They like to see you, if you need to put on a little bit of color on your lips, or if you want to put some nude color, if you want to dress up, if you want to smell good, make sure you don't forget about keeping yourself spiced up, women, as well as men. Don't forget to keep yourself groomed. We like to see our men's with their hair groomed. You don't necessarily have to have your hair, cut short, but we like to see you looking groomed and smelling good and taking care of your body. Okay. Also, this is huge. Please make time for one another. A lot of times we are in relationships and we are so busy trying to build and grow, and we got this plan over here and we got this vision, that you forget to spend that quality time with one another. Please spend that quality time with one another, because that's what keeps the intimacy, the mental intimacy in your relationship, because we have to keep it real. And y'all already know how I am. I'm real, real. One day the sex is going to go away, but what are you going to have after that? So you want to be able to keep that intimate, that mental stimulation there. Okay. And then also put each other first. Don't ever make your husband feel somebody comes before them, or your wife feel that someone comes before her. Don't ever do that. Make
Mhm.
she that woman would do so much things for you if she knows that she's first in your life. Now, I'm not saying because she's first in your life that you can't, you know, do something that you need to do, or either go and help someone, whatever. That's not what I'm saying, but you know what I mean. Letting her know that she's first, and she will jump leaps for you. Okay. You will come home to a peaceful house,
Mhm.
and she'll make sure you got the things that you need. As well as men, don't forget to tap into your wife, making sure she have the things that she needs as well. Okay.
All right. Well, let me leave it this last one. And Pamela, I think we're gonna have to bring some men on next week. We got to get that core, on there. But I do want to say this is that what Pamela said. Let me just tell you a story. That I went to UPS store, and this young lady, I think she has 4 kids or whatever, just had one, and she just came as is. I'm thinking,
Mhm.
just said I'm tired. That I said okay. I said first of all, I said start texting your husband. Text him now. She said all right, and so I like those impressionable ones. So she texts. I said let him know that you love him and you're thinking about him. I said the next week
Mhm.
I come, I'm gonna bring you a wig. So I brought her a wig, and I said when all the kids go to bed, you put that when he comes home, have that wig, put your little lip gloss on. Okay, I'm show you how to work because you have all these kids, but you still have to have spice in your life.
Mhm.
I went back when I come back from my trip and I said, how'd it go? She said, oh, he was so excited. And he said, I
Mhm.
look beautiful. But I said, but then didn't he, but then how did he texted me back and said, thank you so much. The little
Mhm.
things
The little
in the
things.
inner court, let me put it this way. If you become common in the inner court, you will be common when you get married.
Yeah. Don't forget.
Mhm, mhm. Now we have so much more to cover, but Pamela, we're gonna end it next week. We're gonna just leave these questions because it's getting like at 7:59.
Okay.
But we still have are you both safe? I want to talk about that. Are you both safe? The man, are you safe for the woman in regards to her soul? We're gonna talk about how to dismiss yourself relationship, and we're gonna bring some men perspective in there. But I want to end with R.C. Blake. He said this: it's difficult to attract a soulmate when you already have soul ties.
Mm.
That's deep. He said, it is difficult to attract a soul mate when you have developed soul ties. And I thought that was so profound
Mhm.
because what happened when you have soul ties, you're already in the candy store. As opposed to we don't have soul ties, you're looking from the outside in.
Mhm.
That is so important. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. We'll finish up the rest next week. Pamela, could you tell about the therapy services that are provided?
Sure. If you are in need of therapy services and you have private insurance, you definitely can contact your member services, and they will give you some names, and you can call those therapists, or you can look on Therapy for Black Girls, Psychology Today. There is tons of therapists available on those platforms, and you can look at their bios, and some of them have voice recorded videos where you can hear and see them, and they can let you know in regards to what services they offer. So those are just some of the few that I am familiar with. If you are in Bakersfield, California, there is Naisha Davis. She's a licensed therapist. She has two private practice there. We have CNL Services. That's Carla and Lewis. They're a husband and wife team. They're therapists there. And there is a few other people there. I can't think right now, but if I miss you, please don't count it against my heart. But those are some names that I can think of right off the top of my head, where you can seek out some services.
Hmm. Well, I hope this was very helpful for you today. Is it
Yeah.
really enjoy this, and then we'll be ready next week. Once again, if you have share this with someone before you get off, share,
Mhm.
and then look at the last two podcasts prior to that, and
Mhm.
everyone continue. And I like
Yes.
R.C. Blake said. He said before you can before you get a soul mate, you have to make sure you don't have soul ties. That
No
is,
soul ties.
oh my God, that
Mhm.
so good. I hope everybody enjoyed it today. It says, very helpful. Thank you. You are more than welcome.
Welcome.
More than
Mhm.
welcome. All right,
Yes.
Pamela.
All
Well,
right.
Facebook fam, we love you, and we
We
will.
love you guys.
All
Thank you for your support.
all
Bye
right.
now.